Welcome back to our month-long series on the nervous system. By now, you may be asking, okay, what does my nervous system have to do with the fact that my wife does not want me, does not want to touch me, does not give me affection, does not initiate sex? What does my nervous system have to do with that? Indirectly, it has to do with your nervous system leading you to self-abandonment. Welcome back to the Secure Husband Podcast. Bruce Abbott, certified professional coach and founder of SecureHusband.com. It has to do with how the childhood wounds you have inside are stored in your nervous system, which we talked about in the last podcast, and how that leads to self-abandonment. And self-abandonment leads to the thought processes and the behaviors that fuel the sexless marriage. So I want to start with talking about self-abandonment. Self-abandonment, that's the small ways every day that you leave yourself behind in order to stay connected to your wife. I've talked about this in many podcasts. Overgiving, overfunctioning, chasing, saying yes when you mean no, staying quiet when something hurts instead of speaking your truth. You're trying to be chosen instead of choosing yourself. Self-abandonment is a nervous system survival strategy that you learned long before you met your wife, long before you probably were able to even walk and talk. It was a part of your upbringing. It was the environment that you were raised in. Your body learned that if I stay connected to this person, maybe mom or dad, I survive. I won't be abandoned. If I upset someone, I lose safety. And if I people please, I'll be seen. I'll be chosen. I'll be heard. I'll be understood. Your nervous system's been running that program for probably most of your life. Your body learned relationship before you actually understood what relationship was. Because when you're a kid, survival is not just food and a roof over your head. It's emotional connection. Because for a child, connection equals safety. Disconnection is a threat. It's danger. So your nervous system's not able to logically process this. You're not sitting there at 2 years old evaluating your parents' parental styles. No, it's at an early age tracking, is love predictable? Is love conditional? Do I have to perform for approval? Do I have to read the room, read my caregiver's moods to stay safe? What happens when conflict shows up? Do I disappear? You see how this is not intellectual, this is not on the conscious level. All of this is subconscious, it's somatic, stored in your body. You feel these things at an early age, and that's how they get stored in your nervous system. And you learned that if I speak up, connection disappears or is threatened. If I need too much, I become a problem. If I stay agreeable, then I'm safe. Without realizing it, your body makes a decision that my authenticity is negotiable. And that right there is the root of self-abandonment, carried in your nervous system. It's a survival mechanism. No child chooses to abandon themselves because they want to. They do it because that's what worked. If you grew up in a household with criticism, emotional unpredictability, explosive tempers and reactions and anger, conditional affection, you get the silent treatment, withdrawal, inconsistent caregiving. Your nervous system learned that my job is to manage the situation, manage the environment. That becomes survival. I will minimize me so that I don't lose you, mom, dad, caregiver. That agreement gets wired deep. We talked about last time how things get stored in the nervous system. And you don't consciously repeat this. Again, it's felt. It's a reflex. And it feels automatic. It feels like bam, bam, trigger response. And then we grow up and we ask ourselves, why am I doing this? I knew I should speak up, but I froze. I felt wrong, even when wanting what I want, because your nervous system isn't asking what's healthy for the relationship or healthy for me. It's asking, how do I keep safe? And what kept me connected before? Because when you sense even the slightest risk of rejection, disconnection, disapproval, distance, your body moves to self-protect. And we talk about fight, flight, freeze, fawn. Your body will self-protect in this way By abandoning yourself first, before anyone else can, that's conditioning. You've been conditioned to freeze. I talked about this on the last podcast. Your body reacts faster than your conscious mind understands things. That's why when self-abandonment happens, the first thing that you notice is the physiology. You notice the actual feeling in your body. For me, it was always a tightness in the chest. Some people, it's like a knot in their stomach. Some people feel it in the back of their head. Wherever it is, that's the first reaction. Physiological. Your heart rate picks up. Your breathing becomes shallow. And then from there, that's where you start over-explaining and over-apologizing and silencing your needs. Don't rock the boat. Don't make that person mad. It's not really that big of a deal. But your body is saying connection is at risk. Safety is at risk. Protect it at all costs. And that all costs is you betraying yourself. Because love was inconsistent growing up. One moment, it could be warm, distant the next moment. Your nervous system is trying to figure this out. It's learning how to chase connection. That chasing pattern goes with you into adulthood. Self-abandonment, trying harder, giving more, waiting longer, excusing behavior, tolerating the intolerable. You're emotionally over-investing because your body learned if I try enough, love comes back. And in many situations, you have unresolved wounds from childhood. You never were able to bring finality to your childhood situation. So it's left open-ended. So this is where you get into that loop. And that keeps you stuck in the dynamics that just completely drain you. And at the same time you're being drained, you're convincing yourself that you're being loyal and patient and loving, because self-abandonment feels like love. It disguises itself as commitment and sacrifice, kindness, understanding, but underneath it's fear. I've done several podcasts on fear. It's fear of disconnection. It's fear of being unwanted. It's fear of losing attachment, and your nervous system says it's better to lose myself than lose the relationship. Your body equates connection with survival, not what's healthy for you. And that's how self-abandonment becomes your relationship strategy. And the resentment builds, and attraction fades, respect erodes, internally and externally. You slowly disappear. The painful irony of all of this is the more that you abandon yourself to keep connection, the less secure that connection becomes, because relationships can't thrive when one person is missing, and that missing person is you, because it's all stored in your nervous system. This is why it's so important to start with awareness. Just noticing self-abandonment, just bringing the subconscious to the conscious and seeing how your nervous system gets triggered with anxiety, fear, guilt, tension. Your body thinks that we're still in survival mode. And now all of a sudden, your body starts to feel a little different because you're connecting subconscious and conscious. That's one of the things that I work with in the Secure Husband coaching is some tools to be able to manage your nervous system in the moment so that your body gets to a point where now it's thinking, oh, we're breaking the survival agreement. Oh, and it wants to pull you back into old patterns. It's just trying to protect what once worked. It's not to sabotage you. But then you can sit in that discomfort and realize that this discomfort, it's not a threat. It's not danger. It's just being aware now that your nervous system is adjusting to a new reality, connection without self-betrayal. You didn't choose this survival mechanism consciously. It's an adaptation. You adapted to your environment. Your nervous system did exactly what it's supposed to do, keep you safe. But those childhood survival strategies followed you into the adult relationships, and they're no longer needed. But your body doesn't know that yet because it's still stored in there. That's why when you beat yourself up for these things that you do in your marriage, these behaviors, you need self-compassion. You need to tell that inner boy inside that he's worthy and he's loved. Connect to divine guidance for that sense of unconditional love, inherent self-worth. You're not going to end self-abandonment by shaming yourself. You're not going to bully your nervous system into being confident and masculine. You begin by noticing, when do I disappear? When do I people please? When do I silence myself? When does my body panic at the thought of speaking my truth and being honest and authentic? That awareness alone, just noticing that, will begin to separate that survival reflex from making adult choice. There's your freedom right there. That's where you break the pattern of self-abandonment. And I know there are guys that I work with, it's hard because they're told you're too sensitive. It's not that you're too sensitive. It's strong emotional reactions around conflict, around distance, around disapproval. These are patterns that your nervous system learned. It's just protecting you the only way it knows how. But now, by noticing this, you can honor what your body did to survive and use the tools to sit in that discomfort. Your past is your past. There's nothing that you can change about it. You're not rejecting your past. You're just now saying, hey, I'm going to change the deal. I'm going to update the agreement here. Abandoning myself to stay connected is what my nervous system once did. Now I'm going to train and teach my nervous system how to sit in that discomfort and learn that connection is safest when I stay present with myself and not self-abandon. Now that's going to take some time. It doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with self-compassion and not shame, blame, or guilt, and beating yourself up over it. If I were only not sensitive, she would come closer to me. No, it's that your reactions are your past speaking through you, stored in your nervous system. If you recognize yourself in this, if you see those moments that you shrink down, you get small, you overgive, you stay silent, you appease, you're reenacting a survival pattern that your nervous system learned long ago. You're not a failure at relationships. But the fact that you can see that now, it means the cycle's no longer invisible. And when something becomes visible, it becomes changeable. One powerful thing about the nervous system, about the brain, is it can be rewired. If you've ever heard the term neuroplastic, you can rewire your brain. It becomes changeable with awareness and patience and respect. Respect for the body that kept you safe, kept you alive. But it doesn't need to do that anymore because now you're an adult and you can make those adult decisions and you learn how to manage your nervous system and regulate. And that's where real self-trust begins. That's how the nervous system drives the relationship. I've said that over and over. That's how it does it. It keeps that past in there, and everything works from that past that's stored in your nervous system. And when you can change that narrative, you can change the way that your body feels somatically, then the feelings start combining with the cognitive work that you've been doing, listening to podcasts, reading books, watching videos, therapy, coaching. When your somatic starts to work with your conscious and your cognitive, now all of a sudden you start reframing your emotional spectrum. And from there, once you start reframing that, then your behaviors and your actions follow. I talk about that with the Secure Husband process. It starts with awareness, an intent to take action, dialogue with the inner child, dialogue with a higher power, a source that shows you what unconditional love is, an inherent self-worth is, then taking loving action with guidance from your divine guidance. God, higher spirit, whatever your belief system is, what is my next loving action that I take? And then it's taking that action instead of self-abandoning. It's being present. It's grounding. It's regulating. It's speaking your truth when it needs to be. That's how you change how you show up in this relationship, whether the relationship ends up working out or comes to a long overdue end. But it starts there somatically with your nervous system. I hope this podcast was helpful for you. If you're a new listener, hit that subscribe button. And if you're a regular listener, would you give me a review? It helps other men find this podcast for healing. And if you need accountability, visit securehusband.com, fill out that form for a free 30-minute consultation, just a conversation to see if one-on-one coaching is right for you. And you may have heard about the group coaching classes. We'll see how that goes. We'll see what kind of feedback I get on the group coaching classes, because I get many who ask about coaching, but they can't commit to the one-on-one. Visit securehusband.com/group, and you can learn more about the group coaching. And I'll see you on the next Secure Husband podcast. Thanks for listening.